Faith again. How you all doing? So, little things popping in my head, little tricks, always are popping in my head, and of course I don't want to record every little thing. But this is so important. I don't know about you guys, but with 5 kids, especially 4 being boys, when they were younger, they were always getting hurt. Even now that they're older, they're still always getting hurt. We lived in the ER. They knew us by name. When we'd walk in, they'd be like, "Oh, what kid is it now?" My kids are always hurting themselves. And this one in particular time, this was a bad injury. My youngest was like 4 years old. And he was outside playing. They were playing tag, I believe. And he tripped over a parking block and a piece of rebar went through his head. And my kids come running in, "Mommy, Jason has a hole in his head." And I'm like, my kids are dramatic, so I was like, okay, yeah, sure. So I turn off the stove, thinking that he's got a little scrape. Well, lo and behold, when I get out there, he does have a hole in his head. Rush him to the emergency room, freaking out, of course, with all my kids, thinking, oh my God, my kid's gonna die, he has a hole in his head. And the nurse pulls me aside and she says, just to let you know, yes, head injuries bleed a lot. They probably bleed more than any other part of your body. However, nowadays, she goes, instead of stitches, we use something called liquid bandage. And you can get it in the stores, any store, Walmart, Target, grocery stores, anywhere, CVS. And they said, you know what, that's how we seal things now with kids. I mean, they do still use stitches sometimes, don't get me wrong. So I thought, interesting. So I went and I looked into it, and sure enough, liquid bandage. I don't know if you could see it. It's awesome. Today I sliced my finger on a piece of tile because I was looking for something and I shouldn't have been messing around what I was. And I put some liquid bandage on it right after it happened, but I'm going to show you how easy it is. Now, my finger was cut wide open. I've already put some on, but I need to put more on because I want to keep it sealed and cleaned. Now, before you put this on, you want to make sure to clean the cut or the wound really good. Now, I wouldn't suggest your first time, if your kid has a hole in his head or her head or something really major, I would go to the ER. But for scrapes and cuts and little things, just try it out or ask your doctor about it. So basically all you do is after you clean the wound or the cut, you just get it, and yes, it does hurt. And you just paint it on, literally. Ugh. And it, like I said, it does sting just for a few minutes. I always have my kids bite on something because they, like I said, they're dramatic and they scream and it's like, oh my gosh, it'll be over in a second. And you want to put a few coats over it and just kind of paint it on there. And within seconds, it is dry. And you can put a Band-Aid over it. You don't have to if you don't want to. But I literally carry this stuff. I have one in my purse, 3 in my house, one in my car, one in my husband's car, actually one in all of our cars. And I have like 6 extra bottles just in case. Because honestly, anywhere that there's not a joint and it's not going to be bending, you can use liquid bandage. And I promise you, it's safe. And you will save so many trips to the doctor. Like I said, I wouldn't suggest until if your son or your daughter is very hurt, yes, take them to the hospital, the doctor, emergency room, whatever. Don't, just assume, look into it. But I promise you, liquid bandage is the bomb. My husband we were at the pool, and we'd been there all day years ago when my kids were little. It was Father's Day. And him and my dad decided to, have a jumping contest. It was the end of the day. They'd been in the water all day. So you know how their skin gets. It's really, thin and not a good thing. It's just icky. Well, my husband, he caught his toe on the edge of the diving board. And when he came up, there was blood everywhere, and literally the whole tip of his toe was gone. It was still hanging on, but it was bad. So we, of course, wrapped it up, so the blood didn't get everywhere. And we went across the street to Target. We bought bandages and liquid bandage because we didn't have any with us. And right outside Target, we bandaged my husband up. We bandaged his toe, and he was fine. I swear by this. If you've never used it, and if you don't want to buy, if you want to even, this isn't very expensive. But for you men who don't want to be sissies and carry liquid bandage, super glue works the same. My dad uses super glue. The first time he used it on my son, I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, it's fine, it's fine. And as soon as he put that on, right after I took him to the emergency room, and they said, oh no, you're good. Super glue works the same as liquid bandage. I think there's just some more ingredients in this, and I just like this better. But I know men don't want to carry around liquid bandage, probably. So if you want to buy a tube of super glue, it works the same. This is Faith with another little tip. Liquid bandage, buy some. I swear by it. You won't regret it. Have a good day, guys.